Chapter 9. We Must Eat Love. Section 1. Humans must eat love to live. We were made by love. God is the King of love. With God, there is nothing but love. Then we, who became His children, must have only love inside us. But other things and not love are contained inside. When God made the human, He only gave love, but the spirit of disobedience came inside. For only love to come out of the human, the spirit of disobedience that covered up love must get cleared away. Because we were made by love, peace comes when we love. But when things that aren't love come out, peace disappears. When things other than love are used, problems are always created. Things that aren't God's love are the covering, which was put there by the spirit of disobedience. God does the work of unclothing what was covered. If the other person in our lives is lovable in the morning, but that love grows lukewarm by night, the spirit of Satan has already covered love. This is because the quantity of God's love is insufficient in me, so I must quickly be supplied with His love. If God's love is insufficient inside me by 2%, Satan takes advantage of that 2% and enters. The spirits of Satan have an eye on gaps, so there must not even be a hairline crack. If love doesn't go out of me, it is not my image. The spirit of disobedience has covered me. God created the person I to always love. When things other than love go out, peace disappears. This is proof that we were made by love. When things of Satan enter inside and bother me, I undergo difficulty. Things that make us feel miserable and difficult don't belong to us, so we must not use them. We were made by love. That is why we must only use love. I am able to be at peace when I have only love. And when I have only love, hardships pass over. Humans must eat love to live. Humans were born to receive God's love, so that other things don't enter inside their spirits. His love must fill up and overflow inside those who were born to receive love. If one cannot receive God's love, Satan enters and plays around. So we must receive His love to the point that it overflows. God's love is a right that was given to us. Adam and Eve were banished because they disobeyed in Eden. Starting then, the human could live by only eating love. If we look at children with problems today, the children are mainly those who couldn't receive love from the family. They can't receive love from the family, so they go outside to fill up with love. And since they can't receive love even if they go outside, they eventually cause problems. The kernel of Christianity is love. Love that's of Christ must constantly flow in churches and straighten up the family correctly. The stream of such love must consistently flow into the family and go inside it. For Satan to not play around, love must overflow. Love must fill up 100%, but if it's filled up only 90%, the family can become Satan's hideout. If so, all the love that was received thus far gets snatched away. Humans must eat love to live. To live while enjoying peace, we must fill up entirely with love that is of the cross. We must eat love to resemble God. Humans were made by God's love, so they must eat only love. But if they eat things other than love, their images become weird. What would be the reason for frowning and making faces? Since things other than love have entered inside, the face of laughter doesn't come out. His love has exited, and something else has entered. If something that isn't love enters inside our families, one can see the mood has already changed. If only love enters inside the human, joy comes out. Yet, since noxious things of the earth are eaten, due to the poison, our constitution changes into the disposition of the beast. If we live while eating his love, our constitution softens and changes to gentleness and humility. Only the sounds of love come out of the person who only eats love. But many people of this era like the things of the earth more than God's love. Having eaten the things of the earth, people have become hardened and fear has come to them. God's creation is love, but to eat things other than love is poison. This is the problem. All things that God created were made in love. Humans must eat love to go on resembling God. He does not give us love because we are qualified to eat his love. He constantly gives us love even if we're not qualified, so that he can change us into persons of God. Thus, we must eat the love that God gives us and become persons who go on resembling him. If love is given, we must absorb it. If a tree becomes very old, it can't absorb water very well. Similarly, if we can't receive love, though it's given to us, we become an old tree. This does not refer to human age. If love is not inside me, I can't absorb love no matter how young I am. If I can't receive love when the other person is loving me, it's because love isn't inside me. A tree lives by eating water and fertilizer, but the human lives by eating love. If the human does not eat love, his or her spirit dries up. If the spirit dries up, thankfulness and joy disappear, and he or she becomes callous. If our spirit dries up too much, we can't receive love even if it comes later on. This is why the person who is filled up with love takes love in from the other person. If love is given to the person who already has a lot of love, he or she absorbs it immediately. If it can't be absorbed, there is a problem. People who have no love inside can't take it in, no matter how much the other person says he or she loves them. If a tree that drank water well does not drink it, it means there is some abnormality. It has either become sick or a bug is gnawing at some part of it. If bugs are gnawing and eating up the root, water absorption decreases no matter how much water is given. This refers to the flow of this era. If God gives love, we should absorb it, but evil things are gnawing and eating at us inside, so we're not able to absorb it. In the era of love, he makes us perfectly absorb God's love. We enjoy thankfulness, joy, and peace. Section 2. We must fill up on the extract of love. We must receive love in the Spirit. If a church group was established in love that's of humanly attachments, the church changes to a church that's of humanly attachments because there's greed in humanly attachments. So, we must go only in truth. With God's love, we must squash love that is of humanly attachments. Then our surroundings can become beautiful and clean, and we become one by truth. Just as the outside of a walnut's exterior is hard, but the inside is soft and nutty, truth appears hard on the outside, but the kernel inside is soft. Such kernel is God's love, and it saves. We can be one only by His love. Although love in the Spirit appears hard, people become one. Yet no matter how soft the love of humanly attachments appears, there's greed inside it, so we cannot become one. It makes people have conflict and dispute and creates cliques. The reason many churches in this era are becoming dark is that humanly attachments become higher and truth becomes lower. Having been preoccupied with human needs, people in such churches are becoming spiritually blind and dense. People's hearts have become secularized, and they request love that's of humanly attachments. They want to receive from other humans the love that embraces and consoles. They do not know that the sugary love of humanly attachments is poison that kills. We must now receive God's love. We must not be deceived by the sugary, lustful love of humans. To become one, we must go in love that is of the Spirit. We must fill ourselves with the extract of love. Work that I do with my zealous efforts can cover God's work. He is trying to insert His love into all acts of spiritual gifts and into all the acts of giving my body over to be burned. We must be able to see God's movement. We must not be surprised at the person who fasts for a long time, but see God's love that moves inside him or her. We must be surprised at His love. If we see the person who fasts and say that he or she is great, we're not seeing God's love. The great one is God who takes hold of that person and moves. There is nothing that God cannot do. I must obtain God's love, which takes hold of the person and moves, and put God's love inside me. If I cannot see God's movement, I am a person who doesn't have love. We must realize again God's love and obtain that love. We must draw out only His extract and fill it up inside us. Such extract is love. I must fill up with God's love so that the boundary of His world widens, and thankfulness, joy, and peace overflow. Until now, what extract did we draw out more? Was it the extract of love or the extract of hate? Now, I must draw out only the extract of love and fill it inside myself. If we only have love, we can live. Love is drying up in the world. The world is starving for love. Everyone tries to receive love, but there is no one who gives it. Lives inside the spirits of men are dying because they cannot receive love. Love is something that saves. If there is no provision at the place where love is supposed to be received, life dies. Fretting inside humans of this era is critical. Even if humans have nothing, they can live if they only have love. Love is life. Love is something that moves, and without love, the life inside man's spirit dies. If one seed is living, it means there is life. Life is something that moves, and this movement is love. The person who has no love has no movement. Does love move for my sake? The person whose love is living moves for the other person. To move for the other person is sacrifice. That is why, if there is only love, no matter what the circumstances are, we can live. Now, in the era of love, He makes us live only by God's love. We must live because of love. Human life is beautiful because of love. We live because of love. Thankfulness, joy, and peace are inside the daily living of the person who lives while he or she loves. How difficult is the life where one lives because one cannot die? If I live while saying and asking why I was born to live this life, I am the unhappiest person. We must live because of love. If we live because of love, we can pass over all problems. Problems do not belong to me. I overcome all things by love. Joy and peace are with love, and love overcomes all problems. The image of a person who lives because of love and the image of a person who lives grudgingly are different images. At this time, we must change my image. We must have certainty about our purpose and live on. From inside the Spirit, family, and church, we must live because of love. And we must love the other person like I love my own body. Jesus loved mankind, and we must also love all persons placed next to me. If I can't even love my family inside my household, whom could I love outside the family? This is hypocrisy. We must love starting from the family and starting with the person closest to me. Our purpose for being born is to live while loving. This is the reason that when love doesn't go out of us, our mood is not good. The person who doesn't have love is like a desert, like dried up land. There is no generosity of heart. When love doesn't go out from inside, I experience difficulty. Yet from those who live because of love, thankfulness and joy always come out. And the confession, I'm happy because you're here, comes out. If humans say they live because of love, their lives would be totally different starting from the time they're born on this earth to the time they leave. Just like the praise song, you were born to receive love. The person who was born to receive love lives because of love. Thankfulness, joy, and peace are contained inside love. And so we must change to love. In the era of love, we live on because of love.